working for these employers. So we're looking to improve those types of partnerships as well. So we have to increase revenues and we got to decrease expenses.
When you talk about service cuts, I think people have, because we don't know what the service cuts might be, they've leapt to their own conclusions. So in Northwest Philadelphia, a lot of people have this campaign to save the Chestnut Hill West line because they believe that's where the funding, the service cut would be. I mean, can you give any more details about, like, what the order of operations would be for service cuts? Like, where might you start?
Yeah. So first of all, we would do what's called a Title VI analysis. It's an equity analysis. We would look across every mode. We look across every community we serve because we have to be equitable here. We can't hit certain disadvantaged neighborhoods more than we hit other neighborhoods. So we would look at that across the board, and then we would look at ridership. We would look at, other lateral services that we have to get people, where are the gaps?
Can you give me a definition?
Yeah. Just like if we have other lines that are parallel or that they could maybe travel another 5 minutes. I'm not saying it's easy for people, right? But maybe if they traveled another 5-10 minutes, they could get to another line, or they could get to a bus route, or they could get, to another mode of transit.
And I got to ask you, I mean, you guys are a mass transit agency. Have you not worked through, like, these scenarios? I mean, I've worked in corporate. We had scenarios and memos.
Plans A's and B's
plans
and C's,
A's,
yeah.
B's, and C's. I mean, and so that's the question. Do you guys have plans A's, B's, and C's kind of already set up and ready to go?
Yeah, so just to put it into perspective, the last time we've had to look at these types of cuts was over 20 years ago. Wow. So we have not, this is not something that you typically go through. But yes, of course, we know that we're going to have to look at a 20% at least service cut. That means that regional rail lines will be discontinued. That means that bus routes will be discontinued. Just think of any bus route you could take, and if you reduce the stops by 20%, that significantly impacts. We're talking about buses right now that travel at 15 minutes or less frequency. We're talking about maybe every hour. Imagine if you had to get to your job and you're used to going, hey, it doesn't really matter, or I know I'm going to get a bus every 15 minutes, every 10 minutes, and now all of a sudden it's every hour leaving. Is every hour, or getting to your doctor's appointments, or doing your shopping, or anything else that you would need transit for. It's really going to impact how you make those decisions. So trust me, it's not something that we want to do because we know ridership is going to decline. And it's going to decline significantly because transit will not be the best option for people.
I'm sure you hear this from some lawmakers in Harrisburg who would look at this situation and say, well, look, ridership is down. In a post-pandemic world, fewer people need this service, so the system should shrink to accommodate that. What's your response to that? Because I think some people would look at this scenario and say, austerity kind of should be the path forward to match the post-pandemic reality.
Our riders need us more than ever. In fact, coming to the studio today, I was on our Market Frankfurt line, crowded subways, right? And our subways today are running at 6-minute headways. And people are utilizing us on a daily basis. Also, to put into perspective, many people are now on remote working or hybrid working models. So if they used us 5 days a week and now they're using us 3 days a week, which is fairly common right now, that's a 60% decline. And so our ridership right now is over 70%. So in a lot of ways, we've gained riders. We have more riders. It may not be, a complete decrease in riders, right? It's just how often they're using us. And so I think that's pretty significant, the fact that we've hit over like these hybrid work models.
So you're sort of fewer trips overall, but perhaps the same number of distinct people using the system. Do you have numbers to sort of prove that or back that up?
We're looking at data, and so are other transit agencies across the country. It's really hard to collect that data. What I know is when I'm on the system, my buses are crowded, my subways are crowded. We see a lot of people coming and going. Yesterday we had a big day. We had Zach Bryan in town, a lot of people on our Broad Street line. We had the vice president in town, a lot of people on our subways and our regional rail. And so we're seeing a lot of use. We're seeing a lot of activity. But yes, I think people are using us less.
Quick follow-up. I know that you have been supportive of Mayor Sherrell Parker's return to work policy. I know it's only been a couple of weeks. Has that had any impact?